And God said, Behold, I have given you every herb-bearing seed. To you it shall be for food. Genesis 1:29. Man did eat angels' food. He sent them meat to the full. Psalm 78:25. Everyday Manna with Lisa.
Hi everybody, and welcome to Everyday Manna. On today's program, we're going to be making a Szechuan chicken stir fry with a lot of vegetables in it. We're going to be serving that with some brown rice, and then we're going to make a cucumber and radish salad for the side, just to kind of cool your palate, because this dish is a little bit on the spicy side. It's one of my favorites. It's one of my mother's favorites. Every time she comes to my house, she says, are you going to make chicken stir fry? So we're going to do this today for Mama. But we've got a skillet here that we're preheating to a relatively high heat because, you know, Chinese stir fry, remember, is very, very quick in your cooking. And so we're going to get this pretty hot to when we put our chicken, it'll get brown real quick. We've got a pan here, just a saucepan, with 1 3/4 cups of water. And I'm going to add a little bit of salt, probably about a teaspoon or so of salt. And I'm going to add 2 cups of, and I'm using just the quick cooking brown rice. And we're going to add 2 cups of that because this needs to cook for about 10 minutes. So there's 1. And there's 2. And we're just going to cook 2 cups of rice to serve with this dish. And we're just going to let that come to a simmer. Let me stir that up a little bit. We're going to let that come to a boil. And then we're going to reduce our heat and let that simmer for about 10 minutes. When that comes up to a boil, we'll put that back down to a simmer. So right now our pan is getting hot. And I'm going to slip on some gloves because I'm dealing with raw poultry here. So we're going to put some gloves on our hands. And I bought a package of just chicken tenders at the store, just the little thin chicken strips. Now you can get the boneless, skinless breasts if you want to, but you know, the chicken strips are already, half the work is done for you. So we're just going to cut these into bite-sized pieces. Let me turn them around. We're going to cut them into about 1-inch pieces, about like this. As you can see, they're about 1-inch pieces, just because it's quicker to cook that way. So we're just going to cut them up. The pre-packaged up chicken tenders are just so handy for quick cooking. And this is one of those meals that you can make at home when you get home at 5 o'clock and you're exhausted and you don't feel like, you know, cooking a great big meal, but you want something healthy and nutritious for your family. This is one of those go-to recipes that everyone will like because it's got, you know, lots of vegetables and healthy, good boneless, skinless chicken in it. You can customize the heat level to what you like. We like things a little spicy, but I'll show you how you can kind of cut down a little bit on that. I'm going to add just canola oil to my pan, about 3 tablespoons or so. Now, although these pans look like they're nonstick, they are not. They're the anodized, so they're not nonstick. And you don't really want a nonstick skillet with this because you want to have the golden crust that comes with the high heat here. And we're going to add our chicken to our pan, and you hear that sizzle immediately. Kind of spread it out. Anytime that you're wanting to get meat browned quickly, spread it out as you put it in the pan because you don't want to move it. If you put your meat in your pan and you start moving it immediately, number one, you tear the meat fibers, but you will not get that good caramelization on there, which is what you want with this particular dish. You want that golden brown color. This is about 1 pound of boneless, skinless chicken tenders. Like I said, you could get the boneless, skinless breasts if you wanted to, and just, you know, cut them up into about 1-inch cubes. But the tenders, you know, half the work is done for you because they're already cut into the strips. And they're very tender and very quick cooking, which is what you want with this dish. My rice has come up. Let's get that out of the way. Remember, anytime that you're cooking with raw meat, make sure that you do not cut or touch your main cutting board. Have something over top of it, and the knife that you use to cut your meat, until you wash it, don't use it again because you don't want to cross-contaminate your food. Our rice has come up to a boil. I'm going to stir it. I'm going to turn the heat down to just a simmer, and that's just going to be done in 10 minutes. Now we want to season up our chicken. Because this is a Chinese-inspired dish, and I'm going to be using soy sauce, I am not going to add any salt to my chicken, but I am going to add lots of freshly ground black pepper. If you don't like the spicy hot, this is one area you can cut back in. And then there's a couple of other ingredients that we're going to talk about in a few minutes that you might want to use a little less of. But I like the pepper on mine. It just adds a different kind of heat. There's different levels of heat in numbers, but there's also different tastes with your heat. And the black pepper adds just a different taste on your tongue. It's a different place on your tongue that it hits. So I do like a lot of black pepper in this dish. You could, if you wanted to, I have made this very same dish using a steak, like a sirloin, a top sirloin steak, and just slicing it up into strips. You could, by all means, you could substitute a steak if you wanted to. You could substitute pork, like a lean, boneless, skinless pork chop, the center cut pork chop. You could cut those up real fine, and you could substitute that in here. You could substitute shrimp, get the peeled, deveined shrimp, raw, not cooked, and get the peeled kind, and just stir fry that up. You would want to remove your shrimp before you added your vegetables, because shrimp cooks real quick. But you could, by all means, you could do shrimp with this. It would be delicious. And this is just one of those dishes. It's a method that you're learning, and then you can customize to what you like. And that way, it's to your family's flavoring. Now, to this dish, while our chicken, I'm just going to put a little splatter guard on there, because sometimes that tends to, get your stove top and your counters messy because of the oil in there. I'm just going to let that go for a minute. To this dish, we're going to talk a little bit about some of the different ingredients that we're going to use. I am going to use today just frozen vegetables that you get in your grocery store. Every grocery store that I've ever been in, you can buy just the stir-fry vegetables in the freezer department that have got just broccoli and red pepper and celery, and some of them have asparagus and carrots, and just different blends have different types of vegetables. I have just left these out. They've really kind of thawed out, but you can go straight from the freezer with your vegetables. You don't have to thaw them. It's a wonderful way to add just another, if you don't want to take the time to chop up your fresh vegetables. Sometimes, folks, you're in a hurry, and the freezer department of your grocery store can be your friend when you will just look and you'll find the inspiration. And frozen vegetables are packaged at the peak of their ripeness, so they're very good, and they're perfectly good to use in this kind of recipe. If you wanted to chop your own vegetables, you by all means could do that. We're going to add some extra water chestnuts and bamboo shoots just simply because I really like the crunch that comes from that. We've got a couple of other ingredients here that we're going to go over in just a few minutes. Our chicken is browning. Let's check it real quick and see how we're doing. You see that golden brown? I need some tongs. Let me grab a pair of tongs here. You see the golden brown color that gets on your chicken when you leave it alone? You see that? That's what you want with this recipe. You want that beautiful golden brown color. I got to take a quick break, and when I come back, we're going to continue on our wonderful Szechuan stir fry. I'll be back in just a minute. And welcome back. Now we've got our chicken diced up. We've used 1 package or 1 pound, a little over a pound of the boneless, skinless chicken tenders. We've got those sauteing in our skillet. We're going to continue to turn. We've got them a beautiful golden brown color, which is what you want. With this dish, we're going to make, if you're just tuning in, we're making a Szechuan chicken stir-fry dish, and we're just browning up our chicken. We've got the one side browned up. Now we're just going to get the other side going. Let's get him turned over. This is a very quick cooking dish that you can make any night of the week when you get home from work and you're tired and you don't feel like spending 2 hours in the kitchen. Add a little more pepper. Like I said, I like a lot of heat with this dish. One of my favorite Chinese dishes, and this is kind of a takeoff of that. One of my favorite Chinese dishes is Szechuan beef, and we're going to make that together one day. That's a stir-fried beef with celery and carrots, and I just simply love it. Our rice has come up to a boil. We've got it turned down to a simmer. Let's turn it down just a little bit more. Our chicken is browning up. Let's cover that up because it's splattering everywhere. That's okay. That's part of being in the kitchen, is cleaning up the mess. Now, like I said, we're going to use our frozen vegetables. And then I've got 2 bags, just 2 of the bags of the frozen vegetables that you buy in your grocery store. I have 1 can of chopped, or sliced, water chestnuts. They really don't have a lot of flavor. They just have a whole lot of crunch. And then I've got some bamboo shoots. Now, this may be something you've never tried, but it adds a different texture to our stir fry, and they're delicious in salads or in your, of course, any kind of oriental dish that you use. We're going to zest a lemon. We're just going to get the zest off of our lemon because we're going to add that brightness to our chicken stir fry. My lemon doesn't want to be held on to today. We're just going to zest it, and we're also going to, cut it in half and add it to our dish in just a little bit. That's about got it right there, I think. Add a little bit more. The zest of the fruit, I hope that you're trying that because the zest has got so much flavor to it, and it really, it's a shame to waste it, and it just adds such a brightness to your dishes. We'll cut this in half, but we're going to leave it alone for just a minute. We have got 2 cloves of garlic that we're going to mince up, and we're going to add to our chicken when it's just about done. We've got 2 cloves because Chinese food has a lot of garlic in it. That's part of what makes it taste so good. So if you smash your garlic with your knife and then just slice it thin with your knife, and then you can run your knife through it and kind of mince it up real fine. I've told you before, but you can use the pre-grated up garlic that you get in the produce department of your grocery store. If you want to use that pre-grated stuff, that's okay. You can do that. The flavor's very good. They've come a long way with their pre-packaged up convenience foods in the markets nowadays. I was at the grocery store, and one of the things that I love to do when I have time is to just take my time and wander through the grocery store and look at all of the new things. You'd be surprised at how much inspiration you will get just walking through the grocery store, looking at the new products that they continually will get in. Let's check our chicken. Because I cut it, you see how beautiful and golden that is? Because I cut it, fairly small, the chicken is really done. It cooks very quickly. We'll turn these couple of pieces over, let that bottom side get a little browner. Then we'll start building our chicken. We're going to add our garlic to it. Let's add our 2 cloves of chopped garlic. We're going to add our vegetables. Just add them straight into the skillet. Now, the wonderful thing about using frozen vegetables is, now this particular blend had some noodles in it, and that's perfectly fine. It makes it yummy and delicious. The vegetables, as they defrost even more, will let out some moisture to help build your sauce that we're going to make in just a little bit. So I always use frozen vegetables in this dish. But if you wanted to cut your own, that would be perfectly fine. This blend has got snow peas, which are these little babies if you've never had them. These little things are snow peas. They're delicious, and they're just, you can eat the pod and all. They're not like the peas that we shell out of a garden. They're completely edible. We're just going to kind of let that hang out for just a few minutes. Then we're going to add some soy sauce. Now, I like a lot of soy sauce in mine. You can add as much or as little as you want. Let's wait just a minute on that. Let's let that kind of hang out just a little bit and kind of get those vegetables going. Chinese food, the vegetables, you don't want to be completely soft. You still want them to have just a little bit of a crispness to them. And using the frozen vegetables is the perfect way to do that. And I've got the wrong lid here. That's all right. Let me just put my little splatter guard back on. We're just really kind of at this point letting those defrost. Our rice is basically done. Our rice is just hanging out there. We've got 2 cups of the brown rice. I use the brown rice because I like to add that little bit of extra fiber in the diet, and I like the flavor of brown rice myself better than white rice. Okay, our vegetables are looking beautiful. So let's add to this, we're going to add about 2 tablespoons. I always pull out that little stopper on my soy sauce because it just aggravates me, to be honest with you. Well, let's add 3. We've got a lot of vegetables here, so we're going to add 3 tablespoons of soy sauce. And this is something you may not have ever used. It's sambal olik, and it's available, I promise you, in any grocery store out there in the Oriental section where they sell the Chinese foods. It is a garlicky, red pepper, very hot chili paste. Absolutely delicious, but it is very hot. I'm going to add a tablespoon. If you see the red pepper flakes in that, see all those little red pepper flakes? It's very spicy, so maybe if you don't like it quite as spicy, that's one area you might want to cut back to, say, I don't know, half of a tablespoon, or maybe even just half a teaspoon. Start small. This is another product that you can buy in your grocery store in the Oriental section. It's just Szechuan stir-fry sauce, and it's already made up for you. It's delicious. It's just called Szechuan stir-fry sauce. You get it in any grocery store out there. Again, this is very spicy. It's got a black bean paste. It's got some soy sauce. I'm going to add 3 tablespoons because I like spicy. And this way you've got your sauces are already done and they're ready to go. We're going to add our lemon zest that we zested off of our lemon. I got to take another quick little break. When I come back, we're going to finish this up and we are going to make a cucumber and radish salad. I'll be right back with you in just a minute. Revelation 3, verse 20 says, "Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If anyone hears my voice and opens the door, I will come into him and I will dine with him and he with me." You know, God is a gentleman. He will knock gently at the door. He will never knock down the door. When you feel that little gentle stirring in your spirit, open up the door of your heart and your life to your Heavenly Father. Allow Him to come into your life. Allow Him to be a part of your everyday activities. Many people think mistakenly that scripture only applies to salvation, and most certainly it does, but it applies to us Christians as well. Is God knocking at your door today? Hey, and welcome back. Now we just stirred this up. That's all we've done. We didn't do anything while you were gone. I'm going to add the extra water chestnuts and the bamboo shoots for the crunch. Like I said, they really don't have that much flavor. It's the texture that's different. This is a very healthy dish because it has a lot of vegetables in it with a little bit of meat, and that's what I like. I'm a big vegetable eater. I'd rather have a lot of vegetables and just a little bit of meat. And the Chinese typically do that. You know, meat is very much an accompaniment to the vegetables in many of their dishes. And that basically is done. All I'm going to do is use my lemon reamer, and I'm going to squeeze in some fresh lemon juice. Let's turn that heat down, because it doesn't take but just a minute for that to cook. And the lemon juice just adds a brightness to it that you just simply cannot get anywhere else but fresh lemon juice. Stir that up. The rice is done. I do one thing a little bit different to my rice, and I'll show you that right now. I'll take the lid off. This is called sesame oil. It's not a cooking oil, it's a seasoning oil. And we're going to add just a little bit of this to our rice. I'd say about a teaspoon. It's very strong flavored, but it is mighty delicious. And it's just a dark roasted sesame oil. And it just adds a depth of flavor to rice that is simply delicious. Smells nutty and toasty, and it smells very, very good. Okay, let's move on to our salad. We're going to add a touch of this to our dish at the very end. This is very much, the sesame oil is very much a flavoring oil. I've got my food processor out. We're going to make a simple little salad of cucumbers and radishes dressed with the rice wine vinegar that I've shared with you before. And my cucumber is so big it does not want to fit in my tube of my food processor. I could just slice it, but why do that when we've got an easier way here? And we will just simply just put our, lost my little thing there, so let's just do that. We're going to do some cucumber and some radishes and dress it very, very simply. Got to find my little pusher, the little tube thing you push with. We're going to add some radishes. This is just a quick way to get your chopping done with your food processor. This makes real fast work of it, as you can see. And I've just got the slicing blade in there, and I think that's probably good. Let's see how we are. And just take this out, and in our serving dish, we're just simply going to put our radishes and our cucumbers. Because this is a very spicy, hot dish, you want something to kind of cool the palate. You know, when you go eat at a Japanese restaurant, many times they will give you sherbet at the end of your meal. Well, the reason for that is to clean your mouth, to cleanse your palate, so that the hot and the spicy, let me grab a fork here, doesn't quite, overpower your taste buds. So that's kind of the purpose for this little salad, is to just kind of cleanse the palate, and the cucumber just adds a crunch, and of course the delicious English cucumbers. Right now, because the cucumbers, the English cucumbers that you get in the grocery store are delicious and they're very good. And we're just going to make a simple little dressing. We've talked about this product before. This is the rice vinegar. I get the seasoned kind. If you don't have the seasoned kind, you can add just a touch of sugar. That's all this is plain rice vinegar with a little bit of sugar added. And just add that with a little bit of pepper. You can do straight vinegar, which I do very often for my Austin because he loves cucumbers soaked in this vinegar. And I'm going to add just a splash of olive oil. And we're going to just kind of whisk that together and pour that over our salad. And just stir that, get that rice vinegar. You can make this ahead of time and just kind of let that cucumber just completely become saturated with that wonderful rice vinegar. And there's just a simple, little, easy Asian salad that is absolutely delicious. And it's quick and it's easy. So let's get this meal plated up. Now we've got our beautiful rice that is done. We're going to put just a spoonful of rice in the bottom of our bowl. We're going to add, we're going to add just a touch of our sesame oil, about a tablespoon for the whole pot. Stir that in. And then take a spoonful of your Szechuan chicken stir fry and just put that on top. And then we bought some, let me garnish it with just a little pretty slice of lemon there. And we've got some wonderful little toasted sesame seeds that you can get in any grocery store, and just kind of sprinkle those right over the top. And there you go, is a wonderful, delicious Szechuan chicken stir fry. I hope you try this, and I know that your family will enjoy it. We will see you next time on Everyday Manna.
Due to the overwhelming requests, an Everyday Manna cookbook will be coming soon with complete recipes from episodes 1 through 35. To find the recipe of the week, log on to www.everydaymanna.net or www.livingfaithtv.com. Thanks for watching Everyday Manna with Lisa.